For anyone thinking of moving to Mexico, two words you might need to familiarize yourself with are apostille and perito. What are they and why are they important? Stay tuned to find out. Hey friend, my name is Aaliyah, and here on this channel we talk about all things Mexico. So if you're just visiting, passing through, or establishing roots, join the journey and let's get mixed in Mexico. So what is an apostille? An apostille is a certificate that authenticates the signature of a public official on a document for use in another country. An apostille certifies three things. 1, the authenticity of the signature of a public official who signed the document. 2, the capacity in which the public official acted. And when appropriate, 3, the identity of the seal or stamp which the document bears. The apostille does not validate the content of the document. To put it simply, let's say you have a birth certificate from the state of Oregon, for instance. You can't just take that birth certificate to the country of Mexico and expect them to use it. The Mexican government will not accept the birth certificate alone. They will want to see it apostilled or apostillized, however you prefer to say it, which just means you will then have to send your birth certificate from Oregon to the state of Oregon and have them certify specifically for the Mexican government that the birth certificate is indeed legitimate by means of an apostille. After that, you will then have the apostille and the birth certificate to send to Mexico, which they will then accept as legitimate. Thumbs up. But why is it important? Well, because apostilles are among the requirements for certain documents in order to obtain Mexican residency or Mexican citizenship. And I guess I say requirements in quotes because, in all honesty, what each Mexican office actually requires may differ, whether at the consulates abroad or in person in Mexico. Different office, different day, different requirements. That is the Mexican way. You learn to live with it, but it's always better to be safe than sorry, right? So I always, and I emphasize always, err on the side of caution and am always over prepared, just in case. You never know, but it's a requirement nonetheless. So documents you may need apostille can include diplomas, degrees, birth certificates, and marriage license, just to name a few. So how do you get a document apostilled? Well, each state is different, and I've placed a link for each state's apostille website in the description portion of the video below. But basically, you go to your state's website, request the needed apostille for whichever country you need it for, say Mexico for instance. Pay roughly around $30 US, but it depends and it varies state by state. You then mail it in, and most times with a pre-address and pre-posted return envelope for them to return it to you. And within a few weeks, voila, you'll then have an apostille document. But keep in mind though that some states may require both the city and the county to sign and officiate the document before it can be apostilled by the state. But some offices don't. Some offices also have an arrangement where you can go in person and get the document apostilled, and some don't. So just check with your specific state's website in the description portion below. Funny story, my husband and I we were both born in 2 different states and then married in yet another one. So we've had the delightful pleasure of dealing with multiple states' apostille offices. Sounds fun, right? Anyways, once you get the apostille in your hand, is that it? Well, not if your apostille document is in English, is it? And that, my friend, is where word number 2 comes in, perito. What is a perito, you might ask? Not to be confused with a perito. A perito is an official translator recognized by the Mexican government. Although the apostille document may be addressed to Mexico, the Mexican government offices in Mexico and abroad will not accept an apostille document in English. Crazy, right? It needs to be officially translated for their records by a Mexican government sworn official, aka a perito. So how do you find one? Well, that's the $1,000,000 question. We found one by word of mouth in Mexico, which is a really funny story that maybe I'll explain in a future story time video about how we got my husband's citizenship. Finding that perito was funny, but okay. Peritos, nonetheless, they abound in Mexico, similar to, I would say, how notaries abound in the US. And side note, while we're on the topic of notaries, notaries or notarias in Mexico function completely different than they do in the United States. Super bizarre, so stay tuned for a video explanation on that topic. Weird. Anyways, so peritos. Back to the topic at hand. Whether you use their services online or in person, in Mexico or abroad, you will absolutely need them, especially if the Mexican office you go to requires an apostille document that is originally written in English. So to sum it all up, an apostille is a document that the Mexican government will require in order to prove that your state-issued documents are legitimate. And a perito is not a puppy, but is a translator recognized by the Mexican government, which you will need to translate all your English documents before submitting them to the Mexican government. So I really hope this helps, friend. Have fun, enjoy the process, but until next time, hasta luego, friend.